Hello and welcome to another edition of Ask Cheeky. I'm Isaiah Henkel with Cheeky Scientist. Today's question comes from Adrian Jagmag. I'm currently pursuing my PhD. My experience includes cell culture, protein expression, some developmental biology, zebrafish experience, along with standard molecular biology work. I am not in the most accessible location for networking, though, nor do I have enough time at the present to travel and network. What advice can you provide to me to make me more marketable and to increase my connections in industry? This is a question that we get a lot, Adrian. You might want a job in a different country, you might want a job in a different city, you might just be so busy that you can't show up to in-person networking events, or maybe you're in a very small town without a lot of in-person networking events. If this is the case, you are really going to have to spend time networking online. I would start with LinkedIn. Over 90% of recruiters and hiring managers are on LinkedIn. So spend your time there to begin with and start reaching out to your secondary and tertiary connections, not just your primary connections. The fastest way to grow your network is to ask for introductions. You can ask a primary connection, for example, somebody you're already connected with, to be introduced to somebody in their network. This would be a secondary connection. Or you can reach out to secondary connections and ask for connections to these secondary connections, direct connections, which would be your tertiary connections. And you can see who's people's, like for your direct contacts, you can see which secondary connections and tertiary connections you already have by looking at the little second and third colored numbers on LinkedIn next to the person's profile picture. All right, so start digging into these connections, start asking for introductions and growing your network as much as possible. Also, since you can't go to networking events in person, you're going to have to set up a lot of informational interviews on the phone. You can do this after you're connected by adding value, building the relationship, and then asking to get on the phone for 5 minutes. Of course, when you're setting up your informational interviews, make sure that you tell the person on the other end how much time you're going to take of theirs, and make sure you follow our advice for informational interviews, which we've discussed about in another Ask Cheeky video. But you're going to have to set up a lot of these. Get on the phone with a lot of people. Don't just send messages. As soon as possible, try to take it from the message level to the phone level, and even up to the video call level. You can do informational interviews on Skype. It's very common today, so start setting those up as well. And then finally, if you're looking for a job far away, don't be surprised if you have to do a few video interviews before you're invited out to a site visit. In some cases, you may only do video interviews, and that may be enough to get you hired. So start practicing talking to people by video. Start getting on Skype with your friends. Do some mock interviews on Skype. Do some mock informational interviews on Skype, and then start setting up those informational interviews as soon as possible. All right, so hopefully this will help you network when you don't have a lot of networking opportunities in your town, or you're networking to get a job in a distant location. So until next time, remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional.